What's up, guys? Today I'm going over an IBHL English IA. It's the oral exam, and I'm just going to be showing you mine. I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm just saying this is an example you can look at. It's not going to be good. Hello, my student ID is whatever it is. The global issue I chose to address today is the systemic patriarchal forces that keep women from succeeding in society. The works I've chosen are an extract from Song of Solomon by Toni Morrison and an extract called an extract from a poem called "A Moment in Troy" by Wisława Szymborska. Now, the first extract I'll address is the Song of Solomon extract. In this in this passage, this is the passage where Milkman and his sister Magdalene, called Lena, are kind of butting heads um, because they butting heads and they are having an argument over the way that Lena and the women in Milkman's family have been treated by him and his father. The reader kind of feels uncomfortable throughout this passage because Milkman tries and Milkman falls into the role of being automatically in charge. He says, um, "You listen here. I'm gonna make some allowances for your Sherry up to a point." And this is the way that Morrison uses Milkman's dialogue to show that he feels superior to his sister, even though he is much younger, almost over a decade younger than her. Demonstrates that demonstrates the patriarchal nature of the society in which the novel takes place. Furthermore, the reader sees both sides of the argument, and it's hard for the reader to choose a side because um, when Milkman is defending himself for breaking up his other sister with Henry Porter because he was part of the 7 days. This demonstrates that both sides, and Morrison's able to characterize Milkman as trying to be a good guy throughout this passage, and it shows that he is unintentionally holding back his sisters. Although, and this furthers my point that it is the systemic forces that are holding Lena and the women in his family back, not Milkman expressly holding the women back. Furthermore, the dialogue in lines around like 22 to the end of the extract about demonstrate that the whole family really revolves around Milkman. As you can see, you've been laughing at us all your life. Corinthians, Mama, me, using us, ordering us, judging us, how we cook your food. It's obvious that Milkman feels like he's in charge, and this demonstrates the patriarchal society. And Lena goes on to say that our girlhood was spent like a found nickel on you. This metaphor, or this simile, I mean, shows the easy to let go and kind of off the whim, no, just unimportant way in which the women in the family kind of dedicate their time and their entire lives to the men so that they can succeed. And as a result of this systemic process, they are held back and cannot soar and cannot reach their full potential and their full success throughout and their full success even at the end of the novel. Furthermore, throughout the book, in fact, Morrison uses the motif of pee, actually urination, to demonstrate the systemic patriarchal forces that keep women from succeeding. This is seen in this passage, or this is seen in this same. This is seen in this same. This is seen in this same scene where Lena brings up the fact that Milkman peed on her many years ago, and the fact that ever since then he's been peeing on her metaphorically as well. Then earlier in the novel, Henry Porter, who was the guy Henry Porter also is found peeing over a crowd of women, and this is just a metaphor that Morrison uses, and she kind of uses this motif to really drive home the point that the women are held back systemically from succeeding, and it is a fault of society. And everybody wants to soar, but some people, and especially the women in society, especially the patriarchal society, are held back from being able to soar and succeed. Morrison uses the motif of peeing and characterization of milkman to demonstrate that to demonstrate that to demonstrate this systemic oppression of women. And in the real world, and this isn't just a problem in fiction. In the real world, brothers, whether it be the brothers and fathers like it is in the novel, or other men in society that systemically oppress women, no, that hold women back from soaring. But whatever the case be, the systemic oppression of women is detrimental to society. For moving on to the extract from A Moment in Troy by Zimborska, the poem. Um, this is an example where other men, not brothers or fathers, but other men in society are holding women back from succeeding. And it also demonstrates the global issue. Immediately in the first three stanzas of the poem, which are the most important in the arguably the most important in the poem, it's evident that that there's a systemic and patriarchal society in which these little girls that are the subject of the poem reside. The little girls are characterized throughout the poem as resigned, or already in the first bit of the poem, they're resigned to freckles that won't go away and not turning any heads yet. And Zimborska, or no, and the speaker makes the reader feel like the girls really want to be turning heads, like they want to be attractive, but in our society, little girls are not supposed to be attractive. And then yet, why are these little girls wanting to be so attractive? And it is that it's the systemic force that pushes the girls to want to be attractive even at such a young age. And this is further seen as little girls are known for being full of imagination, and when this is shown in the poem, when they're in the middle of a book while studying the mirror, they may be taken off to Troy and turned into beautiful Helens. This is a metaphor for the little girls' imaginations going wild and their hopes and dreams coming true. Their hopes and dreams, which are shaped by the patriarchal society, that they come true and that they are all of a sudden objects of attraction and beautiful Helens. And this happens, the speaker says, in the grand boudoir of a wink. And this metaphor, the boudoir is a woman's sitting room, and this metaphor really advances the idea that in a woman's sitting room, there's a lot of gossip, and responsibilities of society are immediately put on the little girls. And although it is sad to see that the little girls, and it is evident that the little girls are being held back from their full potential because they want to just take on these stresses of patriarchal society in which they must conform to, yet they do not, yet it holds them back. Later in the poem, in stanza 8, it is also seeing the really patriarchal nature of the society, as all the dark movie stars, the girlfriend's older brothers, and the teachers from class must all be slain. This relates to all those dreams of objects of attraction for these little girls, and they must all be pushed away because oh no, I don't know what I was going with that, but. And later in the poem, when there's a shift in the structure where each of the stanzas begin to start with little girls again. So the next three stanzas of stanzas 9, 10, and 11, they all start with little girls, and these stanzas' purpose is to demonstrate how the society made the little girls relish the destruction of society with, for example, they observe disaster from a tower of smiles and wring their hands in intoxicating mock despair. The word mock here demonstrates that they are not actually, they are actually enjoying it, and they're mocking the despair. Finally, this whole poem is contextualized by the Trojan War, and which is directly related by the title, which was fought over feminine beauty. And this feminine beauty that is so objectified is in fact the force that is systemically holds women back from succeeding. That doesn't make sense. Anyways. Finally, the poem demonstrates the double standards of women through in that in that and that they that the girls should not be and that the girls are not supposed to be attractive at such a young age, and yet they want to be attractive. And then also and also the fact that the little girls want to be powerful. They want to observe disaster from a tower of smiles. They yearn for that power, and that's why they imagine this. But in fact, and this is also seen in Song of Solomon. I don't know. Before I go there, furthermore, at the end of the poem, the little girls must return, and they're dreading that moment of return. And this shows how unhappy they are in the real world, and how they wish they could just be in this so-called ideal society where of the Trojan War, where they are beautiful Helens because because they are so unhappy in their bodies. Um, that's not related to my global issue, but anyways, this relates to this back to and this. Ultimately, Zimborska seems to suggest through her characterization of the little girls that there is a strong systemic patriarchal force that holds the little girls back from succeeding and holds them down in a way that makes them want to be something they are not. And this is also seen in Song of Solomon, where the double standards for the women, where they are supposed to help the men and everything, yet receive nothing in return. And throughout both passages we see a strong and throughout both passages we see the detrimental effects of the patriarchal forces that hold women back from succeeding. Thank you. Oh my god. That was so bad. I am cooked. Math final part 2, free response questions for calculus AB tomorrow morning. World history IB SL exam on Tuesday. Wednesday IB English oral, the calculus AB test. This has been the most unproductive weekend ever. I was supposed to just sit down and grind all weekend long, but came home on Friday night and sat down, and I've been playing NHL 21 pretty much since, stopping to watch the Leafs get eliminated from Game 7 for the 8th year in a row. I hope this helps.